This is the Congo Basin, the second largest rainforest left on Earth. 500 million acres of unbroken green stretching across the heart of Africa. Scientists still find species here that have never been named. In places no road has ever reached and no map has ever fully described. Somewhere beneath this canopy, animals are living entire lives, hunting, fighting, dying, that no camera has ever recorded and never will. This is a forest that does not perform for an audience. "98% of the light that falls on this forest never reaches the ground. Down there, in a permanent green twilight, an entire world hunts, hides, and dies without ever once feeling the sun on its back. It is a place built in layers: canopy, understory, floor. 3 different worlds stacked on top of one another, each with its own rules, its own hunters, and its own version of what. Something is already moving. Low, unhurried, almost soundless. An African leopard threading through undergrowth so thick that most of this forest's own residents will never see her pass within 10 feet of them. She has one job this morning, the same job every morning demands of her, without exception and without mercy. Everything else, for now, is just noise she has learned to ignore. In a forest this dense, strength alone has never been enough, and it never will be. No matter how much muscle an animal carries into a fight. Survival here belongs to whoever reads the undergrowth better than the animal standing 3 feet away from them. The one who moves like the forest itself and vanishes the same way. Welcome to the Congo, 2,000 miles from any ocean, and still one of the last truly wild places left on the planet. A forest so vast that entire ecosystems inside it remain functionally unexplored to this day. Over the next hour, 6 different hunters will answer the same question. This forest asks every single one of them. This is not a leopard hunting for sport, and it never really is out here. 4 days without a kill, and the margin between strength and desperation is closing fast, narrowing with every hour that passes without meat to show for it. Somewhere in this tangle of green, something alive is about to become the difference between another day and The blue duiker survives on paranoia and on almost nothing else besides. Small, alone, and built for nothing but speed and disappearance. It has learned across countless generations of ancestors that the difference between eating breakfast and becoming one comes down entirely to how often it lifts its head and how fast it. She reads the wind before she reads the ground, because the wind is the only thing in this forest that can betray her before she is fully ready to be seen. One shift in the breeze, carrying her scent forward instead of back. And 4 days of hunger quietly become 5. Every movement now is a negotiation with a forest that owes her absolutely nothing in return. It has felt something. Not seen, not smelled. Felt The way prey animals in this forest have felt danger for 10 million years before this exact morning ever existed at all. For 3 full seconds, neither animal moves so much as a single muscle. The whole forest seems to hold its breath along with 20 feet. In this forest, that gap might as well be 20 miles or 2 inches. Everything now depends entirely on who reacts first and how well their body answers when the moment finally arrives. There is no plan B for either animal here, no second strategy waiting in reserve. There is only this instant. Elsewhere in this same forest, an okapi drifts through the shadows, one of the largest land mammals on Earth, and still, after more than a century of searching by scientists who once doubted the animal was even real, one of the hardest creatures alive to ever capture properly on camera. Even giants disappear here if the forest decides that is what should happen. This is not the kind of race built for open ground, decided cleanly by top speed alone over a long straight line. It is built for the tightest, fastest, most violent 3 seconds either animal will survive today. A blur of muscle tearing through vegetation that neither of them can fully see through, running as much on raw instinct as on sight. And just like that, the chase is over. Not because the leopard was too slow or too clumsy, or made any real mistake at all in the pursuit itself. Because the forest itself chose a side in this particular contest. Somewhere just beyond her reach, a body a fraction of her size has found a hole she will never She can hear it in there somewhere, or thinks she can. A rustle, a heartbeat. Maybe only her own hope talking. But hearing is not catching. And in a forest this thick, the difference between the two is the exact difference between eating tonight and not eating at all. Tonight, or possibly no kill, no meal. Just 4 days of hunger, now stretching toward a 5th, with no guarantee at all that the 5th will end any differently than this one just did. In a forest built from a billion hiding places, the hunter does not always win. And every failed hunt out here is a debt that has to be paid eventually, one way or another. These are not typical chimpanzees foraging for fruit or squabbling loudly over rank within the troop. This is a hunting party, a coalition of adult males moving with a clear purpose and something disturbingly close to a plan that most people never imagine a primate other than ourselves is capable of forming and then actually executing. Red colobus monkeys spend almost their entire lives in the canopy, 60, 80, 100 feet above the forest floor. A fortress of branches that has kept most predators out for millions of years of evolutionary pressure. Almost all of them, anyway. There is one exception moving through the trees right now. Nobody taught them this exact maneuver today, and no one ever formally will. No signal is given, no words exchanged between them. And yet each male already knows his precise role in what's about to happen next. Some will drive, some will wait, patient and hidden in the leaves. It is teamwork built with no... This is the moment the plan finally becomes visible to anyone watching closely enough to see it. The lower males aren't hunting in any direct sense of the word. They're herding, pushing the troop like beaters on an old world game drive, funneling raw panic in exactly down on the forest floor. A different kind of hunting party is already on the march, utterly indifferent to the drama unfolding above it in the canopy. Driver ants don't stalk anything, and they don't chase anything at all either. They simply arrive in overwhelming numbers, and nothing small. For a moment, the colobus try to fight instead of flee. A wall of teeth and noise thrown desperately at the blocker to buy the rest of the troop precious seconds to escape into safer branches. It is brave. Genuinely, undeniably brave. It is also, in the end, not nearly enough to one mistake, one branch misjudged by 6 inches under pressure, and it is over for good, with no second chance offered, not through raw speed, and not through overwhelming power alone, through a plan executed by 6 minds working together as one unit, in a canopy no single hunter could ever have covered by him. Even now, the hunt isn't really finished. It has simply changed shape entirely into something colder. What was disciplined teamwork during the chase becomes open competition at the kill itself. Meat divided not equally at all, but by rank, by patience, and by who is willing to fight hardest for the smallest remaining scrap left over. In the Congo, cooperation only ever extends so far before self-interest quietly takes back over. "25 pounds of muscle, claws, and something that looks almost like open contempt for the very idea of danger itself. The honey badger is one of the smallest animals in this forest that virtually nothing at all, chooses to hunt a second time after the first attempt goes badly for This is a different cat entirely, and a very different kind of hunt from the one we just watched fail. Not stalking a starving forest for whatever scraps it can find, but sizing up what looks from 30 feet away, like the easiest meal available anywhere in the Congo today. He is about to learn exactly how wrong easy can turn out to be. For most animals this size, that'd already be over. Bone crushed, spine severed. A clean and efficient kill in under 2 seconds flat. The honey badger, as it turns out, has other ideas entirely, and a body built specifically over millions. That skin, nearly a quarter-inch of tough, baggy armor stretched loose across its compact frame, is the honey badger's oldest and most effective trick. Refined by evolution long before any leopard ever tried this. It doesn't need to break free of the bite at all. It just needs enough slack in it. One bite is all it costs him, and it is more than enough to end this. The leopard that arrived for an easy meal is now bleeding and retreating. Every ounce of his earlier confidence gone in a single, brutal, humbling second he clearly never once saw coming. There is no chase in the other direction, not even a token one for show. No leopard on this continent stays to finish a fight it is already losing this badly. And this one is losing badly indeed. In the Congo, size buys you a first move against something smaller. It does not buy you the last word. And then, nothing. No triumph, no lingering fear, no pause at all to process what nearly killed it just moments ago. Just dirt flying again. Because somewhere under this clearing, there is still a mole rat worth digging for. Fearlessness, it turns out, isn't the absence of danger at all. It's simply refusing to let danger change the plan. Every river in this basin has its own resident law, and it rarely needs to move at all to enforce that law on anyone passing through. The Nile crocodile does not chase anything through open water or across open ground. It waits, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days on end without eating, until the river itself brings the meal directly to him. The Tunga is built for exactly this kind of place. Hooves that spread wide across mud and reed beds no other antelope in this forest could ever cross without sinking straight through them. But every adaptation built specifically for the swamp is also, unavoidably, an invitation to whatever might be hiding in the water directly beside it, waiting quietly. 12 feet of muscle and armor, and not one visible motion to give away the approach. This is a predator that has turned stillness itself into a weapon, closing the distance so slowly and so precisely that the water itself barely seems to remember he ever moved through it at all. This is the instant every ambush predator on this river waits for, sometimes for days at a stretch. Not strength, not speed, just one lowered head, one half-second lapse of attention in an animal that has otherwise been alert for every single other second of its entire life, until now. Nearby, the world's largest frog does what it does best, absolutely nothing at all, and does it extremely well. A Goliath frog can weigh over 7 pounds, and its entire survival strategy, refined patiently over millions of years, amounts to never once being the first thing in the water to move. No warning given, and no second chance offered afterward. 2,000 pounds of bite force closing in a single fraction of a second. The fastest, most violent event to happen anywhere on this entire river today. Over almost before it has even truly begun. This is the role that gives the Nile crocodile its fearsome reputation along every river it calls home. From here, all the way to the Nile itself, thousands of miles distant. There is no wrestling free of this hold, and no bracing effectively against it. Only the water, closing over everything until the struggle simply, finally stops for good. Within a minute, there is nothing left to show what happened here at all. No sign, no scar left on the water's surface. The river has simply returned to waiting, the way it always does, for the next small mistake it never has to go looking for on its own. Almost no one has ever filmed this animal hunting in the wild. And that is not an exaggeration. The African golden cat is one of the least studied wild cats on the entire planet. So elusive that most of what we actually know about it comes from camera traps triggered by a shape already gone by the time the shutter finally fires. Solitary, mostly active at dusk and through the deep hours of the night, this cat survives by being the one thing this forest almost never sees coming until it is already too late to matter. Not the strongest predator here by any measure available. Simply, consistently, the hardest one in this forest to ever notice at all. Every step out here is a calculation, weighed and measured carefully before it's ever actually taken. One wrong leaf, one snapped twig underfoot, and 4 full minutes of perfect stalking are wasted in a single careless instant. Patience, in this forest, is not a virtue to be admired from a distance. It's the entire hunting strategy. Full stop, with nothing left to spare. It's over in under a second. No wasted motion anywhere in the strike. No unnecessary violence at all beyond what's required. Just an efficient, decisive strike from an animal that simply cannot afford to be seen failing at this, let alone failing twice in the same single night out here. And just like that, it's gone again. The way it always is. Every single time, without exception. A hunt this quiet, this efficient, this precise, has almost certainly happened 10,000 times before in this forest, without a single human witness ever present to see it unfold. There are predators in this world that become famous the moment they're born, celebrated everywhere long before they've ever made a single kill of their own. The African golden cat isn't one of them. And maybe that's exactly the point of an animal built like this one. Not every hunter needs to be seen to be exceptional at what it does best. Stealth rules the shadows of this forest, from the leopard in the undergrowth to the golden cat along her log. But follow the water long enough, and you find a very different kind of power altogether. One that doesn't hide, doesn't wait quietly in ambush, and doesn't ask anyone's permission before claiming what already belongs to it. Nothing in this river moves through a hippopod's territory without permission granted first. Not the current, not the crocodiles drifting quietly along its edges, and certainly not anything foolish enough to test that unwritten rule anywhere near a calf belonging to this pod. This crocodile isn't hunting a calf outright, at least not yet. Not this early in the encounter. It's testing the way young predators in every corner of this entire river system learn where the actual lines are drawn, usually the hard way, and usually only ever once. "15 feet. That is the exact, precise moment patience runs out entirely. And the water's actual owner decides, without a shred of hesitation left in him, that the test is finally, decisively over. £6,000 moving with a speed nothing that size should reasonably possess, and yet somehow does. This isn't posturing for show, and everyone in the water knows it. A hippo's jaws can end a crocodile's life in a single bite. And every predator on this river has already learned that lesson well. Elsewhere in the Congo, a different kind of power is on full display entirely. And it has nothing whatsoever to do with hunting anything at all. A silverback's chest beat isn't a threat aimed at prey. It's a message aimed squarely at every other male within earshot of the clearing. This ground, this family, is already spoken for. There's no negotiating with 6,000 pounds of open jaw bearing down on you at speed. The crocodile has already made the only sensible decision left available to it in this moment. Leave now and live to test someone else's patience on another day entirely, somewhere else. Within minutes, the pool looks exactly as it did before any of this happened. Calm, quiet, entirely unremarkable to a passing glance from the bank. But nothing in this river ever truly forgets who holds it. Territory here isn't drawn on any map anyone consults. It's enforced every single day by whoever is willing to charge first and mean every second of it. Weeks have passed since the duiker vanished into that tangle of vines and left her with nothing to show for the effort. She is hungrier now than she was even then, if that's possible. But something else has changed in her as well. She is no longer hunting the way she did that failed morning. She has learned something the hard way, and she has not forgotten a single part of it. This time, there is no straight line drawn toward the prey ahead of her. She circles wide instead, letting the wind carry her scent anywhere except forward, sacrificing distance and time for the one thing a direct chase never once gave her before. An approach that absolutely nothing in this forest can smell coming ahead of time. Every animal moving through this stretch of forest funnels through this exact gap eventually, sooner or later, whether it wants to or not. She isn't chasing prey anymore, and has no intention of starting again after last time. She's chosen the one place prey has no real choice but to come to her instead. This is the hardest part of any true ambush, not the strike itself, which lasts barely a second, but the waiting that quietly makes the strike possible in the first place. Every second she holds still out here is a second closer to the one mistake she can finally, patiently turn against something smaller. It checks the wind exactly the way instinct has always told it to. And this time, for once, the wind lies to it completely, without hesitation. There is nothing at all for it to smell on the breeze, because for once, she made entirely sure of that before this moment ever arrived. No chase this time, none at all. No 30-yard sprint through undergrowth built specifically to swallow her whole and let the prey vanish into it the way it did before. Just one perfect, patient ambush, ending in less time than it took the duiker to lower its head and look for danger. Not everything in this forest survives by killing something else to stay alive. The Congo's forest elephants, smaller, shyer cousins of the giants roaming the open savanna far to the east, spend their whole life moving quietly between clearings just like this one, living proof that this basin still has room left for gentleness too, in among all the teeth. A kill left out in the open is only ever half a meal. And she knows that better than most animals in this forest. Hyenas, other leopards, even her own kind will take this from her the moment her back is turned for too long. 4 days of hunger already taught her that particular lesson once, brutally. She has no intention of learning it a second time. What she does next is the exact reason leopards have survived in forests like this one, longer than almost any other big cat alive on Earth today. She isn't simply going to eat here in the open, exposed and vulnerable to everything watching. She's going to take this kill somewhere. Nothing else in this forest can possibly follow her. Branch by branch, nearly her own weight and dead muscles swinging beneath her the whole way up, she climbs anyway. Because up here, 30 feet above the forest floor, gravity is the only real force left that can still compete with her at all. Safe from hyenas circling somewhere below, safe from every other leopard in this stretch of forest, safe from anything that simply cannot climb, as well as she just did. The hunt that failed weeks ago taught her this forest punishes speed without patience behind it. This one, she won by trading speed for patience instead. And this time, finally, it was enough. Six hunters, 6 entirely different forests contained within this one single forest, overlapping and coexisting without ever quite touching. A troop of chimpanzees that plans instead of simply chasing blindly. A creature a quarter the size of its attacker that flatly refuses to lose under any circumstance. A river predator that never once has to move in order to win. A cat almost no one has ever managed to film properly. A bull that rules an entire river without ever once leaving his pool. And a leopard who learned that failure, the first time around, wasn't the end of her story after all. "500 million acres. And even now, no one has ever walked all of it, and no one likely ever will. Somewhere down there, species still exist that science hasn't found a name for yet. Which means somewhere down there, hunts exactly like these are happening again tonight. Hunts that no camera, no scientist, and no story will ever manage to fully capture. There are no heroes in this forest, And there are no villains either. There is only the same unbroken rule, decided differently in the canopy than at the riverbank, but decided in the exact same way everywhere in between. Only the strong, the patient, or the simply unwilling to lose survive to see tomorrow. Tonight, in the last true wilderness of its size left on this earth, one hunter finally eats, safe above a forest floor that nearly starved her only weeks before. Tomorrow, the forest will ask the exact same question all over again. To her, and to every other living thing beneath this canopy. It always does, and it always will, for as long as this forest stands.